In my case, with my ice cream t-shirt, I love ice cream. And so every day that ticks by with no ice cream, I think I'm going to enjoy when I have ice cream next even more because of the sacrifice I'm making currently. I'm Todd Vande, CEO of Stark, and I've gone from vegan to paleo to keto to carnivore, from cryosaunas to ice baths to training like an athlete to being injured like one, enhancing my mobility and optimizing my sex hormones. I've done stem cell therapy, exosome facials, IVs, and I've worked on my mental well-being for 15 years. With thousands of labs and various forms of scans, I'm surrounded by high-level medical doctors, functional medicine doctors, chiropractors, nutritionists, and strength coaches, all leading me in concert to a state of optimal health. And I'm here to share that journey with you regardless of your age, your genes, or your medical conditions. Today we're going to talk about trending topics for the fall of 2025. There are 5 new topics not covered in our August solo episode, but dominating conversations in health optimization and longevity right now. I'm going to throw an additional one at the end. We're going to talk a little bit about ice cream, one of my favorite topics. Each topic is rooted in either emerging research, clinical results we're seeing at Stark, or a wave of public interest on social media that I think makes it worth addressing. All right, the first one is microdosing sunlight for circadian health and hormonal balance. Most people have heard of getting morning light in your eyes for circadian rhythm, but a growing wave of health pros are pushing the idea of microdosing sun exposure, which I think I unknowingly do myself already, throughout the course of the day. This is for improving melatonin production, cortisol regulation, and testosterone synthesis. It also can help with sleep regulation. And what it means is that you're exposing your skin, ideally your arms, your chest, or your back, for 2 to 10 minutes of natural light at key times, morning, midday, and afternoon. It'd be pretty difficult for you to take your lunch break and go take your shirt off, especially if you're female. But it actually may matter. The 2023 review in Frontiers in Endocrinology confirmed that UVB exposure increases circulating testosterone in men and supports ovulation in women. And interestingly enough, I'm sure that you've noticed some of this yourself, that in the summertime, when if you're in the Northern Hemisphere and you're exposed to more sunlight, you generally just feel better. And there's some biology that's moving along with this. And that's to say that with higher vitamin D levels from sun exposure, you're able to produce more sex hormone receptors that enable the sex hormones that you do have your body producing naturally or not naturally. They dock on that sex hormone receptor and penetrate the nucleus of the cell. So you actually can experience the impact of whatever you're producing naturally or taking just by enabling your body to produce those sex hormone receptors by being exposed to the sun. Here's another really interesting topic to me because I've been doing this for so long, but apparently Zone 2 training is dead. Zone 2 cardio, more specifically. So long live aerobic intervals. Zone 2 was all the rage for mitochondrial health, but people are now moving toward aerobic interval training, especially those without the hours and hours and hours it takes to do Zone 2 cardio, because it's very, very slow and frankly kind of boring. So why is the shift? Well, in a 2024 meta-analysis in European Journal of Preventive Cardiology found that aerobic intervals, 1 to 2 minutes, very, very fast, and 2 minutes of easy at 4 to 6 rounds, deliver an equivalent or greater mitochondrial benefit than steady state Zone 2 cardio, medium intensity Zone 2 cardio, the kind of cardio you do when you can still have a conversation, but you're kind of huffing and puffing. So Stark students with poor cardiovascular scores often hate that Zone 2 slow grind. With aerobic intervals, compliance is way up inside of our ecosystem. It's up by about 50%. And VO2 max is actually increasing at an increasing rate. Do we know this for sure inside of our clinical environment that this is effective? No. We're just getting started. So a protocol that you might want to try, and one that I'm doing as well, is 2 times a week, alternating fast and easy efforts. So keep your total session under 30 minutes. So it's a very short period of time. Try to breathe through your nose the entire time. especially on the recovery portion, of course. But even when you're in that sprint phase, try to breathe through your nose. So, like I said, this is not informed by our clinical experience yet, but we're exploring it. I still do zone 2 cardio once or twice a week, but I'm doing more and more interval training just to see to what degree it has an impact. And the one metric that I'm looking at specifically is my resting heart rate, which as you age tends to get higher and higher, but that is optional by training your heart. So I'm kind of skeptical of this shift. It's sort of trendy, and trends generally, well, they're trends, they kind of come and go. But I think all forms of exercise with varying intensities are really helpful in a much more complex way that is informed by research, including the meditative state in which you float around in while you're doing extended bouts of zone 2 cardio. It's really, really boring. And you're probably aware of this, but boredom is really, really helpful for the human mind and body. Next topic is sulforaphane 2.0. This is targeted detoxification for longevity. Sulforaphane, which is a compound found in broccoli sprouts, is getting new attention for its impact on detoxification pathways beyond phase 2 liver support. And so there's a study in 2024 from Johns Hopkins showing that sulforaphane boosts expression of over 200 cytoprotective genes, including NRF2, improving glutathione recycling and reducing cellular senescence. So why does this matter? Detoxifying isn't a woo-woo cleanse. It's about giving your liver what it needs, chemically speaking, to eliminate modern toxins that we are unfortunately exposed to at levels that we really weren't designed to handle. And those toxins, they accelerate the aging process. So how do you apply this? You can eat 1/4 to 1/2 cup of broccoli sprouts daily, and they must be raw. I'm smiling because I know for many of us, that's a fart disaster. So I don't know about you, but I will not be doing that. But this is one way to apply this solution. Our docs at Stark have been using various forms of sulforaphane at Stark for over a decade. So it's not actually new. Liver function has been a naturopathic and functional medicine concept, an area in which to focus since the beginning of these types of medicine. So again, this is not necessarily new, but it's in the headlines, and so I wanted to bring it to the table. My favorite way in which to detox is, well, it's the basics. It's eating well, sleeping well, exercising well, huffing and puffing and sweating, putting limitations on my use of technology, meditating, and of course, sweating my ass off in the sauna. That's kind of a no-brainer. So if my labs indicated that I needed sulforaphane in my supplement plan, my Stark docs would have added it. But I'm not making a consumer thinking decision around a supplement like that, or any other supplements for that matter. I don't want to waste my money. And if the supplements are really high quality, I don't want to be impacted negatively by those supplements. Okay, next topic, muscle-centric aging. Why muscle is the new organ of longevity. So the big idea is that muscle isn't just about aesthetics or strength. And this is a constant area of frustration for me on social media. I'm perpetually asked, how do you get abs? How do you develop your shoulders? How do you get better or bigger biceps? And it's a very, very old way of thinking about your body in a purely aesthetic way, trying to essentially reshape your body to look like it should have when you were younger. And muscle is so much more complex. It's a critical endocrine organ. Every contraction releases something called a myokine or myokines that reduce inflammation, they regulate insulin, and they protect your brain. And so the more muscle you have, theoretically, the more myokines you can have doing that particular job for you. And the experience of living when you're in that state is just better. When you have lack of inflammation in your brain, for example, and in your joints don't hurt. Your muscles are less achy. You can think more clearly. You have more enthusiasm and more excitement about things. And you generally can be more optimistic just because your brain works better. So this is all just related to adding a little bit more muscle. So the new framing is that in aging research, That's why muscle is being called the longevity organ. It's not a new concept, actually. There's a great book by Dr. Gabriel Lyon called Forever Strong. I read it a couple of years ago. I think maybe it came out in 2022 or 2023. And it focuses on muscle as the longevity organ. It's the first time I actually heard that concept. That's the central theme. Highly recommend it. It's an easy read. Very, very helpful. I especially recommend that book for women because Dr. Lyon is, I'm guessing, a perimenopausal female facing many of the struggles that many women are going to face when they hit that stage of life. And in some cases, it continues on for decades. So I think she's absolutely amazing. But don't worry about looking so shredded as she does. And I don't even think it's a good goal for you, actually. It's pretty far, in my opinion, for a female. You have that female triad problem that you guys can research on your own that can cause problems, especially for women that are still in reproductive years. And so you have to really want to look like her to get there. So if you do look at her and you aspire to be like that, I think that's a potentially problematic aspiration. If you look at her and you're like, ooh, I don't want to look like her, so I don't want to read the book. My point is that you're not going to get there. Like you have to, as a female, you have to really, really, really pursue that. As a male, if you want to put muscle on, it's very, very difficult. Supporting data around this concept, by the way, is that there's a 2023 paper in Nature Aging, and it confirmed that muscle mass and strength are stronger predictors of mortality than, of course, BMI, which I think is kind of a joke, or even cardiovascular risk factors. So this is a new way to think about it. Every strength session is a signal to your body to stay young. Think about it like that. Next topic, ultra-processed foods in the brain. So this is going beyond obesity. Okay, so the new concern is that recent research links ultra-processed foods not just to obesity and metabolic issues, but to cognitive decline and depression. It's great to finally hear this or finally read this. If you all have had medical or mental health issues like me, and then you dramatically change your lifestyle and your exercise and the food that you consume, it's really also obvious. I mean, in the state of feeling healthy, it's very difficult to experience cognitive decline and depression. You feel sharper. So the extension is to other age-related diseases that we're all afraid of. And I think we should be, as we watch our older family members suffer from the same. But cleaning up metabolism through diet and lifestyle and exercise is incredibly powerful for this group of patients and this particular type of disease state. And back to the research. In 2024, in JAMA Neurology, they found that a 20% increase in dementia risk among people consuming higher levels of ultra-processed foods are present, which is not surprising. It actually sounds a little bit low to me. And so this is the reason why. These foods destroy the gut-brain communication that you need so critically to be there in order to be healthy, to experience health. And they spike inflammation and they dysregulate dopamine signaling. So the dopamine signaling concept is that you can't feel what it feels like to have a lot of dopamine in your body, to feel that drive and excitement and just drive for life in general. It starts to go away. And that's a really scary situation to be in. So the takeaway on this is it's not just about macros, it's about molecular integrity. So let me explain what I mean. What you're eating affects how you think and your mental well-being. And the lack of mental illness can spring from how you're eating and certainly how you feel and absolutely how you age. It's not a new concept to me or the Stark team as we've been practicing health optimization for over a decade, but it seems to finally be hitting the mainstream, which is kind of shocking to me, that sugar and chemicals and other what I would describe as food-like substances that we consume with so much enthusiasm that they're poison and that they're addictive. And of course, they're absolutely devastating to our minds and bodies as a result. So I have one more topic for you, enjoying food. You see, I've got my little, my favorite ice cream t-shirt. I love ice cream. Well, here's an idea for you. You can have the best health of your life and enjoy food more than ever. But I'll share another idea. That joy and happiness and all of those so-called positive life experiences, they're viewed through this concept of contrast. In other words, the happiest people I know also know what it's like to be the saddest that they've experienced that. The wealthy people who are the most joyful tend to have earned it themselves through many, many trials, and they appreciate what they have because they know what it's like to not have those things. So let's get back to ice cream. Ice cream, like on my t-shirt, is enjoyed more. There's no way to measure this, but I think more by me than anyone else listening to this podcast or that I know, because of the sacrifices that I make to have it. And nearly all of my meals are, I wouldn't say perfect, but they're pretty close, except for one or two per week. Massive meals, like 3,000 calorie meals. And so I also expose myself to a moderate amount of misery. And I think that makes me really, really unique. Come along with me. Do miserable things like extreme cold and extreme heat and hard workouts. I mean, I sacrifice constant entertainment and replace it with sleep. And so when I do experience entertainment, go to a concert or watch a movie, I enjoy it more because I don't have the same frequency. So in order for me to enjoy ice cream or pizza or whatever you love to eat, I mean, loving to eat is a human adaptation. It's actually not a problem. We exist because our forefathers, our predecessors, loved to eat and therefore survived. It's not a problem, but it's how we're designed. So, but you have to, in order to really love and enjoy these wonderful parts of being alive and being human, you have to go without them. I hope that makes sense. You have to sacrifice things in order to really, truly enjoy the thing. In my case, with my ice cream t-shirt, I love ice cream. And so every day that ticks by with no ice cream, I think I'm going to enjoy when I have ice cream next even more because of the sacrifice I'm making currently. You have to sacrifice. You have to look forward. Quantity and frequency is the problem. Do you understand? It's not the food itself that's the problem. It's the quantity and frequency, the availability of it. And I don't have extreme amounts of discipline, which people assume I do. I really don't. I am strategic, though. In the house, I don't have these foods until it's the right moment. Like last night, when I had a massive amount of these foods, I try to make it difficult for me to get them when I'm the most tired and I need the convenience in order to eat the foods I'm not supposed to be eating. But because it's inconvenient, I generally don't. And so a very easy thing to do, and this also applies to issues that other people have, like sugar is not everyone's issue. Alcohol is a big issue for many people. And savory treats like potato chips is another problem. So if it's alcohol or potato chips or whatever it is for you, make it harder to access them and go for long stretches of time in not having them. And while you're doing that, be thinking, I'm going to enjoy them much more because of the sacrifice I'm making. That sacrifice as a human makes that experience much better. Now, I love all of these things. So let me just summarize my thinking. I eat ice cream. I drink alcohol. I eat pizza. I eat cookies. I eat chips. And I even eat fast food, though very, very infrequently. And I love them all. And I would argue that I love them more than you because, and I enjoy them more than you because of that lack of frequency. And when I do, man, the experience of, or the level of pleasure that I get from that, it's because I put up the guardrails. So come along with me. The experience of being alive is far better when you make these short-term sacrifices. These trends I just reviewed with you, including the whole speech about ice cream and making sacrifices, they reinforce a central truth that optimization is about consistency in applying small and intentional habits that compound over time, just like compounding interest. Make these little tiny habits, turn them into a permanent part of your life, and watch them compound, and you'll experience the benefits of these health initiatives like I'm experiencing on a regular basis. So whether it's the sun on your skin or the food on your plate or how you breathe between sprints, all these little things, each decision nudges you toward a younger biological age and a sharper, more resilient self. Thanks for joining me. If you liked today's topic, don't forget to like and subscribe. You can comment wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to learn more about Stark, you can find us at stark.health. That's stark.health. And you can certainly find me on Instagram at testosterone. That's TESTODDERONE.